Shame on the Prime Minister and shame on Bill Shorten. Shame on them for choosing politics over people. Shame on them for not attending one of the most significant events that have happened in relation to the Vietnam War in a very long time. Today, thousands of people went to the capital of Western Sydney, Parramatta, to welcome home the remains of dozens of men who died in that conflict oh so long ago. They were put in graves in Southeast Asia, and through negotiation and a lot of pain for the families, they came home in flag-draped caskets today. Their bodies returned home a generation after they left. And the Prime Minister and the opposition leader couldn't be bothered to turn up. Instead, they were playing politics. They were trying to garner votes. They were doing silly things for the cameras. Well, shame on our national leaders that on this day, when the final bodies return home from one of the hardest conflicts that Australia has ever been involved with, and one of whom tens of thousands still live amongst us, and we still thank them for their service. Shame on them for not thinking that it was significant enough to turn up to. That's because, of course, Vietnam veterans, and certainly dead Vietnam veterans, don't have hashtags. They don't have champions in the media. They don't have people running Facebook campaigns for them. And that in and of itself is something that shames us all as a nation. The treatment of Vietnam veterans when they returned to this country was a disgrace. And while nothing can make up for those men not being there today, they can both pledge on the election trail that in this festival of apology that we have at the moment, where we apologise for the atrocities of the past, the criminal problems of the past, the Australian Parliament, as well as every single state parliament, should apologise formally for the way Vietnam veterans were treated then, and in many ways the way they are treated now. Just because it was a difficult conflict, just because it was one that was steeped in controversial politics, it doesn't mean that their service wasn't just as real, just as important, just as valuable. Shame on the leaders of this nation for looking the other way. And shame on them if they will do nothing to say sorry for the way these men were treated when they came home from a bloody, awful war. I thank them for their service, I thank their families for their service, and I send strength and love to the entire Defence Force family, be they generations past or the generations to come. I'm keen to know what you think on this or anything else. Do you agree with the idea it is time for a formal apology to the way Vietnam vets were treated?